Welcome back to Winning in the Workplace on WBRP, Talk 107.3 FM. My name is Gordy Rush. He is Maurice Velasquez from Team Real World. And we're talking about the alignment model and how it starts with understanding the 4 phases of a team.
Right.
We've covered the 4 phases of performance. You said, however, that if we wanted to stay performing consistently, we needed to get the first 3 phases.
Right.
We tend to gloss those over.
We do.
But what are those first 3?
We tend to gloss them a lot, Gordy, and we just don't realize how much we hurt ourselves.
Okay.
And so what I hope that everyone catches is listen to it. It's kind of like a domino factor, that if you set these up, the pain of setting up dominoes, it's really monotonous, and you mess up a lot. But once you set it up and then you knock over the first phase correctly, and you do the second one, you'll find yourself that, oh my goodness, we're performing.
Yeah.
But if you bypass the first 3 phases and you try to force performance, it's not. You're going to be working against yourself because you didn't set it up right. Okay, so let's go back to the first phase, which is where it all starts, and that's forming. Okay,
so define forming.
So forming basically means is how many players do you have on a baseball team?
9.
Okay, what if I tell you we're going to win the World Series, the College World Series, but I couldn't find a good first baseman, so we're going to do with 8?
You're in trouble.
Oh no. See, we really got a good second baseman, and he can cover for both second and
Good
first
luck
really
with
well.
that,
No. You understand, Gordy. I got a really good team, and you know what? That first baseman, he just wasn't performing well, and we're really rethinking whether we need a first baseman. I mean, we're going to try a new model.
You don't make it to Omaha, Maurice.
Okay, but do you see my
what
point?
You're saying, right.
How many times do you hear?
We'll get it. And so you haven't gone through the forming.
You got 5 people in your team, okay, and you as a manager, you may like Larry over here, right? But you're one of your executives, they don't like how Larry's performing. See, that goes back to the whole issue not being on the same page about performance metrics. But for whatever reason, all of a sudden, Larry announces they're quitting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so great. The executive's happy that Larry's gone. You're not, right?
No.
And you need Larry.
Right.
You can't have Larry, but you now know you need to fill Larry's spot.
Absolutely.
Okay? But you can't get approval for that. And so your executive says, well, just use the other 4 people to cover for that. And then you're stuck in a very precarious situation because your staff knows, your second baseman knows, well, I can't perform. All that work's going to fall on me. And this is going to happen, and then this is going to happen, and this is going to happen. But obviously the decision's been made, so we decide, you know what, just put that vacancy on hold. Right there, you're going to then next day say, all right, now we've got to perform like this. Good luck. It's not going to happen.
So let me play devil's advocate.
Sure.
I mean, we hired you. You are an expert.
Right.
So why can't we ask you to perform faster?
Okay, remember the great technician you and I talked about earlier?
Yes.
I was a great technician at that company.
Gotcha.
I don't know how to be a great technician at your company.
Gotcha.
I got to figure out the politics. I got to figure out the players. I got to figure out how decisions are made around here. And I'm trying to show you, Gordy, how I'm supposed to perform because I'm a good performer. But I got to figure out a lot of stuff in the first 90 days that if the team is not there to play and practice together, those technicians they're human, so they're just going to slip through the cracks.
Define what has to happen in the first 90 days.
Well, in the first 2 days is clear job descriptions up front.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? We tend to hire people with a job description that really doesn't matter. Okay? It's 5 years old, whatever. It just doesn't apply anymore. And so we don't ask ourselves the question, is this still the job? So we need to commit ourselves that everyone comes on board with a clear job description, or if you don't have a clear job description, then get that person to figure it out in the first 30 days and get them to write one for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about an incredible amount of engagement when you do that.
Absolutely, when they do that.
Because they come in and go, so I don't have a job description? No, but you're not going to be held accountable to anything right now except this. Come up with a job description and come up with 3 metrics within your job description in the first 30, 45 days where you can be considered successful.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
You're
I'm
empowering the person to go, whoa. Oh, and by the way, every 6 months, you will be empowered to change your own job description again if you see it changing.
So let me ask you this. What if a department loses an employee
right,
and the manager wants to replace that person, but the executive doesn't?
The scenario we talked about earlier, right?
Right.
Okay. At that point, it's really a disagreement between the executive and the manager as to what that position needed to perform as. And so the manager has to really advocate very hard and very professionally as to why you need that person. And a lot of times the executive, they'll have a hard time saying this to the manager. It says, well, look, I just don't think you were managing them right.
So executives being connected to managers. So let's talk about this. What about executive what if he knows good people to hire and he's insisting that person is to be hired?
Good question, Gordy. Okay. The problem with that is the key word you just said is what? Insisting.
Yeah.
Okay. People have to be able to hire their teams. Okay, because you as an executive or whatever upper line you are, you need to see how good they are at bringing their team. And if they can build their team and give you the performance numbers you need, why does it have to be your people? Yeah, but I know someone that's really good. Yeah, but you got to realize if you impose that too hard, you're going to remove a lot of the ownership that every human being likes by building their team. So what I would say is don't insist, is agree that there's a process that the executives and the leaders above can introduce people, and they should be considered. Because there's a sense of, well, look, I'm an executive. I know this person. Give my people a little bit, kind of like a fast pass in Disney World, kind of, get a little fast pass. Yeah, they should have some preferred.
To the front of the line, right.
Get to the front of the line, but it cannot be that, oh, well, we got to hire this person because, it was recommended by Gordy, and you know how Gordy gets about that. You know what I'm saying? And not that that's what you do. I'm just using Gordy as an example.
But I think broader, then we come out, the executives basically have the opportunity to choose their managers.
Yes.
But at that point, the managers, you give them their goal,
right?
Their job description,
right,
and allow them to go hire their own team and find however they want to get to it within reason.
Within the council of other managers and HR and the executive. You don't operate it. You don't operate on it as a vacuum, but ultimately, yes. So where I've seen it work really well is where everyone can recommend their friends, their buddies, their family members, but it's understood that there's a process, and we will give preferential treatment for internal references, but they go through the same vetting process. And if the team, the managers or the team that's hiring does not feel that they're a good fit, then you have to respectfully recognize that it just didn't work.
All right, so conclusion. Yeah. So basically fill up your team, assign them their roles, and get them to practice well together. And they basically have 90 days to prove themselves.
Oh, yeah. The 90 days is it. Because you're not only, quote, testing that person and vetting that person, you're vetting the team that's bringing them on board.
Yeah.
You got 90 days. Help that person define their role, if not define it for them, and then train them on what? Well, what are the 3-4 metrics that they're going to be successful on, and train them on that. Don't train them on everything. Train them on that which is going to make them successful, okay? And do that really well. So I would break it up into 3. The first month, clarity on the job description.
Okay.
The second month, lots of clarity on the metrics. Begin the training that second month, okay? And the third month, train them and let the team play, work together for that month, practicing the metrics. And every one of your new team members should be able to be formed. Okay, if you do that and make sure that all your vacancies are filled, now you got a team to work with. And if you brought them up like that, you have a greater chance of not getting stuck in the storming phase. And that's where we'll go in our next segment.
Okay, so
let me say it this way. If you do the forming phase well, you will lessen the many times that you're going to get stuck in the storming phase.
All right, so any other talking points? How about vacant positions? How long should you keep them open?
Vacant positions, we usually coach our clients. Now, all companies are different, but by and large, the default is don't hold a position for more than 90 days and still keep that on the org chart. In other words, if the decision is we're not going to fill that position, then just make that decision. And this is say, guys, we're going to reshift our workload. We're going to do with 4 rather than 5. We're no longer a team of 5 employees. We're a team of 4. And go to the org chart and remove that position from the org chart so that you give clarity that this is our team.
So then, and eventually you got to shift the workload or something, right?
But that's okay. So companies have to do that all the time. Just because you had 5 before doesn't mean you have to have 5 now. But within the 90 days of a person leaving, if you're not going to fill it, have those discussions and figure out we're not going to fill it, and let's go ahead and close that vacancy.
All right.
Okay. But if you keep it open, then work with your HR department to get that position filled I would say no more than 30, 45 days after a person leaves.
All right. So we're going to continue this
Yeah,
in our
yeah,
next
yeah,
segment.
okay.
Now, let me know, what can execs out there and managers that are listening, what can they do right now if they're looking for help?
The fastest way is to come to our one-day boot camp on the alignment model, which is perfect for management excellence, executive leadership, and we recommend that an executive bring a manager. If manager wants to come, bring a supervisor. That you come in pairs, because you will capture things differently, and it's easier to sell these ideas back when you hear two people that have gotten it. And so what we say as a discount is that every second person you bring will give you 50% off if they mention that they heard it on our show today.
All right, so call and you'll receive 50% off any second.
And it's
attendee.
so the first one gets the second one is 50, then the fourth and the sixth, correct.
All right, so you're listening to Winning in the Workplace. Gordy Rush and Maurice Velasquez. Maurice, how can we get in touch with you?
You can reach me via email at maurice@teamrealworld.com or call me at 225-772-4357, which is also 772-HELP.
All right, we'll be back with more of Winning in the Workplace on Talk 107.3 FM.